This is a ROHM RG38, and this gun belongs to a friend of my older brother, and you can see this thing is unloaded. But so his brother passed away and he got his hands on this gun, and he said he just wanted to keep it because it's his brother's. It's not a very valuable gun. You can pick these things up for around $100, $130, but the cylinder was stuck and it would not open, and it was loaded. And you know, if I'd have charged him to fix this thing, it would have probably been between $200 and $250 in the repair. Not really worth it based on what the gun actually cost. So I did it for him for no charge because I understand the sentimental value he has, the attachment he has to this gun, it being his brother's. So wasn't a lot of information out there on these guns, so I thought I'd just disassemble this thing, show you guys what I did, because somebody else might have this problem. You could not push this forward. You see how this is actually the center pin is attached to this, and it opens the gun up so you can get the cylinder out of it. To prevent damage to your center pin here, when you close it, you need to pull here and then push it in place, okay? If you just slam it shut, it's getting bent and damaged on this. The spring holding that center pin in place has a lot of pressure on it, and it's bending the end of the pin. So let's see if we can open it back up. There we go. We can open it back up here, and we need to pull the pin to close it. If you can't get your cylinder open, this gun, I got to looking at it, and all these little pins in here in this gun allow it to come apart. And the frame, if you look here, this portion of the firearm is slid up inside this frame. So all you gotta do is take it apart. So we take the grips off first. Really long screws on these grips. Okay, we got our grips off. Now, look right inside here. So this screw here is holding these two pieces of the gun together. So let's just take that screw out. There we go. We need to push this pin out right here. Really not hard to push it out at all. We got to take the cylinder catch off the gun, or the cylinder release. One little screw comes off, the large end goes towards your cylinder here. And once you get that apart, there's a screw here. Here we go. So we pull this screw out. Now I know there are people that are gonna say, you should have put this in a vise, hammered it backwards to pull it out. I tried that so many times. I could not get this thing to come forward to get this cylinder out of here, no matter what I did. So this pin holds your barrel on, and that's the only thing holding that barrel on. I did have to hammer a little bit on this one to get it out. But look at that. See the little slot in it right here? That pin slides right through there, and that's what holds the barrel on. It's just this little pin keeps that barrel on the gun. So when I got it, remember, it was still loaded. This would not come forward no matter what I did. I could not get it apart. Okay, once you have it in this condition, I use this little dental pick here. We're going to reach in and we're going to pull this slide catch backwards. It just needs to come backwards, and then the gun will come apart. It'll slide down and out, and it slides straight down and comes apart. This would be a lot easier to take apart if your cylinder is not broken. You can take your cylinder out, but I couldn't get the cylinder out. So now what I've done is I've exposed the transfer bar is gone. I don't know if you guys can see down inside there or not, but do you see the little pin there? So now you can see the back of the center pin. The center pin is attached here and runs all the way through the cylinder. So I was able to now put it in the vise and reach in here with a small punch and hammer that out. Once I got it free, I was able to pull forward, lift up, and then I could take the cylinder out like this. So that's how I got it out when this pin was bent and you could not open your cylinder. A lot easier to take apart if you just take this off first, but I just wanted you to see how I did that. Let's take this cylinder apart and show you what I did with it. Okay, so this thing is threaded backwards, so instead of righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, it's lefty-tighty, righty-loosey, I guess you would say. Now let's see if we can get it to come out. So we want to screw it in. Looks like it's coming loose. So just lay it down in order as it comes apart. Now, right here, I'll take this little pick. This unscrews, and you just unscrew it here. We're going to work it backwards. But this thing is under a lot of spring tension, so we're going to cover this up once I get it loose. I do not want this thing to go flying out across the room here. There we go. I just catch it and work it and let it come loose. I'm going to cover it up because I do not want to search for this piece in the shop. There we go, pop loose. Make sure you keep pressure on it. So let's pull it out here. This piece comes out, and this piece comes forward to come out. And then inside here is a spring. There's a little clip. There's a little clip right here. Holds that spring, keeps it from going forward. And remember to put it back together. Your spring goes on top where your threads are to reassemble it. What happened was this got bent, and it was in kind of an S shape. It got bent going in and looked like someone, from you can see here, someone tried to beat it back out of there. And during the time of them beating on it, they bent it back the other way, so it had an S shape on it. So what I did is I put this on the anvil, and I took my hammer. Let's pretend this was the anvil. I laid it on it, and I just kept tapping it, and spinning it until I kind of flattened it back out a little bit. I couldn't find a replacement part, so that's how I repaired it. Now I had flat spots in it, and it wasn't all the way straight. So what I did was, let's go ahead and take this off of here, is I put it in my drill. So I just stuck it in my drill so I could spin it, and I took it over to my belt sander, and I turned the belt sander on so the belt sander's spinning, and then I spun the drill and laid it up against it and just smoothed it out until I had it straight again. And that's how I repaired it. So if you have that problem, that's a quick fix for it. Now, let's reassemble the gun. Now this part, I'm not going to take these apart. If you have any issues with these or are going to take this apart, it's not a lot to it, but I'm just not going to do it in this video. Just wanted to show basic disassembly and reassembly. So let's put this guy back together now. So this spring goes on where your threads are, and then it's going to drop into here. Threads are going to face out. There's only one way it can go in. There's only one way it can go in. There's a groove in here that it has to fit into. Where is it? There it is. Make sure your spring stays in place. Now, let's put this spring over top of it, slide it down in there. Now we're going to reinstall this piece. Drop it on the top here. Just push down and spin it. You can get it to catch and it'll start screwing into position. Once you screw it down, come back with this and tighten it up. Alright, so that's tight. This guy drops back in here, and then this piece screws on right inside there. So remember, it is backwards, so instead of turning it to tighten it, you got to turn it to loosen it up, and it'll screw back on. Now, the tip is spinning down here, so what I did was I just grabbed it with my pliers and I gave it a little turn just to try to tighten it up there. Now we got that working. This will still pushes back out of the way, or you can pull it and pull it back out of the way. So we got our cylinder back together. So let's put our frame back together now. So we'll just take this portion of the gun and we just slide it right back up in here, and just kind of slips right back into place. It's almost too easy to do. So let's put our screw back in next. Just tighten it down. So our frame's back together now. We just need to begin to put our pins back in, and we'll put the barrel on last. So let's put this cylinder release back on. Drop it in place. Okay, so it should stay forward. The pin is what's actually going to push it back and make it stay in the rear position. And let's get this cylinder back in. So to install it, you want to pull forward so that pin disappears. Do not shove that pin in there hard. Drop it back in place. Let's put our screw back in the front. The last thing for us to do is put this crazy barrel back on it. It just kind of hangs off the front of the gun. Put our grips back on it. And we're back together. And that is how you would disassemble and reassemble your German-made ROHM RG38. If you need any gun repair work done, you can find us at SC Gun Repair. So look us up online. We're in York County, South Carolina. If we can help you out at any time, please contact us. Be safe, everybody.